In the headlines, Dominica's most at-risk groups challenged to play their part in eliminating HIV and AIDS. A management reshuffle as the State College welcomes over 600 new students, and the body of an elderly pitted Soufriere man fished out of the Casablanca coast Monday afternoon. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. First up, the body of an elderly pitted Soufriere man was fished out of the Casablanca coast on Monday afternoon. 70-year-old Alphonse Darou, better known as Brother, went on to pitted Soufriere Bay on a Saturday. His family alerted police when he didn't return home, and the police, together with the community, mounted a search. The Coast Guard found his body floating on the Casablanca Sea Monday. Next up, Dominica's most at-risk groups are being challenged to play their role in HIV elimination in the country. The call came from Project Coordinator of the OECS HIV/AIDS Prevention Unit, Dr. James St. Catherine. Dr. St. Catherine says Dominica and the Caribbean are on a path to reducing the number of HIV cases per year. However, the most at-risk groups need to play their part in helping the region's health sector reach this goal.
Identify that the most at-risk groups of persons who are likely to be able to default, so to speak, or not have access to the services provided are those persons who are the highest risk. We look at sex workers as one group. We look at men who have sex with men. We look at transgenders. We look at sex workers' clients. And we look at youth in this group. And in that context, we know we cannot do it as government without the support and collaboration of those groups. And that's why I am happy to have at the table with us someone representing that group.
Dominica is among 6 OECS territories to benefit from a 3-year Global Fund grant to the tune of $5.2 million US. This grant will further assist the country's efforts at reducing cases of HIV and tuberculosis.
The aim of the project really is based on setting us on a path to eliminate HIV by 2030 and to eliminate TB by 2050. My view, and I'm sorry for saying that, Madam Chair, is that we will have accomplished these targets well before that. Based on the trajectory we're on, I have confidence that we'll be able to do that. For example, tuberculosis, most of you will say, well, why are we talking about it? It is something which is really, you get few cases. But look at what's happening with the demographic. Whilst we are a low-incident TB country, we are seeing developments taking place in our region where people are coming from high-incident countries like Asian countries, and they are coming here. So the whole idea is that we have to be prepared.
The OECS HAPU has embarked on a 90-90-90 strategy to reach their elimination target by 2030.
The first 90 is to bring people to know their status. Now, you can only do this if you, one, have people to acknowledge that they need to do something, why they need to do it, how it is that it can be done, and what are the benefits to them. The second 90 has to do with the quality of care, because what we want is to ensure that all persons who are eligible are brought into the system and are in receipt of that. And then the third 90 is to ensure that 90% of the people who are in treatment have their viral loads so suppressed that they are unable to transmit the virus.
The project's coordinator also commended Dominica for its significant work in reducing incidents of HIV on island. Meantime, a representative of the most at-risk groups says it is important that all members of civil society collaborate to help the OECS HAPU meet its goals.
I am a representative of CHAP Dominica. CHAP Dominica is an organization that serves mainly, what Dr. St. Catherine refers to as the most at-risk populations, and of course, we're a large part of civil society. I think it was essential that, we actually got the chance to all sit down together and understand where exactly all the information is coming from, to understand our roles and our responsibility as civil society and as, representatives of a group that seems sometimes, marginalized and forgotten about every now and again, to actually see how we can get the information to those who are helping us to push our work, and how they can help us to actually continue to fight against HIV and the elimination of HIV.
Gregoire discouraged Dominicans from relying solely on government or the authorities to make researching this achievement possible.
We always, in Dominica especially, we talk about, the people haven't done. And when we speak about the people, we're to talk about, the government heads and the people in charge of the different organizations, NGOs, and so on. But being from the civil society end, I can tell you that we also have a part to play. So when we speak about, the elimination of HIV and AIDS in Dominica, and we talk about what the Global Fund has done for the progress to reach to that point, to be able to say that our next step needs to be elimination, we also have to call on our civil society, our residents in Dominica, and everybody to play their part as well.
The dissemination of information among the populace is also a critical role in helping the OECS HAPU attain its HIV elimination goal.
The need for information arose in the epidemiological sector, where they found that they needed quality data in an efficient manner, and that's where the journey began. Now, though we are speaking more specifically to HIV, TB, and STI here, it does fall within the bigger picture of health information. The journey has taught us a lot. Being a small economic nation, trying to accomplish something that requires a lot of financial resources, a lot of human resources, and specialized skill sets to allow us to accomplish this goal of quality data to provide quality data analysis.
Saturday marked the 1-year anniversary of Tropical Storm Erica in Dominica. A Channel 5 News team visited Petite-Savanne, the hardest hit community, and filed this report.
There are still no public utilities and some roads in the village remain blocked. But some residents say they don't see themselves living anywhere else. For those who have moved back permanently and those who return on the weekends say they would like to see some scientific evidence that the community is no longer safe to live.
Since before Christmas, I spent my Christmas right here in that house.
How was it, seeing that the majority of residents were not there?
I did not panic about that. I was still okay.
But Majo, I'm sure you would have known that Petite-Savanne has been considered a place that is not safe to live. How do you feel about that?
Let me tell you something. The government used that word. But up to now, Petite-Savanne people never get to them and to talk about it. They never come to us and let us know how it is. So I am there.
Joseph says she visits her daughter who lives in another community every now and again. However, she says she is no longer receiving government's displacement allowance since she has moved back to Petite-Savanne.
When I asked, it was confirmed that because I am living in Petite-Savanne, so I did not worry. Yeah. They can give houses if they want.
You're not interested then?
No.
A multi-million-dollar bay oil industry destroyed. The distillery, which was located at the entrance of the village, was swept away by a landslide. But what's encouraging a year later is that there's a lot more greenery in the village and bay trees are in abundance. It has become a norm for those who have relocated to families' homes and guest houses to revisit Petite-Savanne on the weekend to farm. While Jared Laura left, he returned and has been back at his home since last September.
Oh, I don't maintain that's the only place for me to live. I mean, I could understand if government give us a good place where we could get enough land so that we can have our house and our freedom to live. We can move there, but not in a place where we have to go and live in an apartment. I myself, I would not live in that. So the other option is best I come and live in my place where I have all my freedom. I can plant my vegetables, I can do my farming, I can do all my gardening and things so that I can make $1 from it. And more people coming back now than what that was coming before. They're coming back to farm. They had a displacement fund given, they give me some money from that. But when come to get the first displacement fund, they giving like, they said that they would be giving a $300 every month. When come to that, they take out my name on the list for the very first month. Because I'm moving up and down Petite-Savanne. Because we coming up here, we spending the whole week working, planting vegetables, going in my garden, planting, dashing, and we're going down on every weekend. We bring in provision down for our children in town. If we have to we bring it down for my sister.
Although all the dead bodies were not found, villagers confirmed that Tropical Storm Erika claimed 19 lives. The last 2 bodies found were that of Raphael Daru and Jonathan Antwine. I'm actually standing next to their gravesides. They're buried at the back of someone's house opposite the distillery. Harold Fontaine was one of those who found the bodies of Raphael Daru and Jonathan Antwine. Mr. Fontaine, what was that experience like for you?
You had to dig up and to move them. We had endless help like police, Hans Francis and Joe Men, and endless young fellas was there helping. So we found the first body was my friend, Small, because you had to dig up and to move them. We had endless help like police, Hans Francis and Joe Men, and endless young fellas was there helping. So we found the first body was my friend, Small. He's small. So he get his son. His son was going to school still, you know, so he get his son. So after we dig again, we get Jonathan and Raphael. But you couldn't go nowhere with them to bury them far. We had to bury them just where we buried them there. Yeah.
And you were explaining to me that you found them in a nearby house adjacent to the distillery.
Yeah, we had the distillery pushed them under the house there.
Mr. Fontaine, a year later, since Tropical Storm Erika, how have you been doing?
Well, I can't complain because I've been coming up here, making my garden, going back down. So I can't complain. But to make it here, I don't think it will go back and make it, because we haven't got lights, we haven't got no communication. So, and if we fall sick if they fall sick in the night, the problem is the transport. And if rainfall, the road block, you can't go. So I don't see why people would stay here. Is make your garden and go back down.
They have been referred to as heroes. They are considered resilient. But 1 year after Tropical Storm Erika, the healing process continues. And if there's one thing about the people of Petit Savan which can never be forgotten, it's their bravery. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
Channel 5 News can confirm that government has met more than once with the Petit Savan Resettlement Committee, which is headed by the chairman of the Village Council. In a first-of-its-kind public forum, Cabinet met with the people of Petit Savan on Monday evening at the Goodwill Parish Hall. Dominica's disaster management system has received good reviews from the regional community.
On 29th August 1979, Hurricane David hit Dominica, causing massive damage as there was little local radio warning and no systems in place for disaster preparedness. However, 37 years later, Chairman of the Emergency Shelters Subcommittee says the high level of volunteerism displayed by Dominicans helps to ensure that the country's structure for disaster preparedness and management works well.
The structure that we have for disaster management, basically the civilians being part and parcel of the arrangement, is very, very good. It's working for Dominica. And a number of the countries in the region, they're basically asking, but how do you do it? What is the recipe? What are the methods that you use? So we are thankful that we have that type of arrangement on the ground, and it's working.
The Emergency Shelters Subcommittee Chairman says there have been plans to have proper hurricane shelters constructed. However, this would require a large amount of resources.
That would be our desire, to have planned designated shelters. As we speak, I think we only have one that is in the Kalinago territory that was done under Caribbean Development Bank program. There have been plans. Plans are, a number of things have been tried, but as you realize, there's a lot of resources. A lot of resources are required to do that type of undertaking. But as we go by with the consciousness that we have now, and a number of persons are coming on board, hopefully I know ODM is trying hard to see at least if they can put something in place to maybe have one in each district, the 7 local government district. But that will take some time.
While applauding the high level of volunteerism during times of disaster, Fontaine says the job of being a shelter manager involves a lot of responsibility and steps are being taken to have people properly trained to take up this position.
At one point in time, people think their responsibility was just going to open the shelter and they could turn their back and go home. But shelter management is a lot of work. You have to account for everybody who enters your shelter and who leaves your shelter. You have people with who need medical attention, and the list goes on. Children have to be treated differently. You know, you have to create play areas and programs for the children, the elderly. You know, so shelter management has been posing major problems for us. And we hope that the agencies that we work with, doing it collectively, that we can address this issue of shelter and shelter management in Dominica.
You are watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, police news, sports and weather. Thanks for staying with us. There's been a reshuffling in the management structure of the Dominica State College, and the chairman, Dr. Ian Lambert, has told new students that they will be enrolling in courses that will stretch their minds. Dr. Lambert has been in the position for about a year, taking over from Brian Mead as chairman of the DSC's Board of Governors. Mead is still with the college as its director of operations. When the college introduced its management team to over 600 new students on Monday at the orientation ceremony, there were some noticeable changes. Dr. Shyla Esprit is the new Registrar and Dean of Academic Affairs. Shakira Lockhart is now the bursar, taking over from Catherine Abraham, who is the Dean of Education. The college has introduced new departments in the name of Student Development and International Affairs, headed by Beverly LeBlanc, and the General Studies Department, of which Nadine Revere is the director. Roll Leslie remains Dean of Applied Arts and Technology, Delia Casey is Dean of Health Sciences, and Diana Angol remains Dean of Arts and Sciences. In welcoming the students, the DSC chairman encouraged them to make the most of what he calls an intellectual adventure.
You now have the opportunity, unlike the secondary school environment, to choose, hopefully, provocative lecturers and courses that will expose you to new ideas and alternative and critical ways of thinking. The talented faculty here at the DSC will be your guides and allies on your journey of inquiry. They are among Dominica's greatest resource. Use them full-time.
An investigation has been launched into the death of a Laplain man whose partly decomposed body was discovered in the Sari Sari River on the weekend.
The body was identified as 84-year-old John Baptist Valmond, who was last seen about 7 a.m. on Wednesday, the 24th of August, 2016. John Baptist Valmond was officially pronounced dead by a medical doctor. A coroner's inquest will be convened. Investigations are ongoing. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force extends condolences to the family and friends of the deceased.
In more police news, one man has been arrested for possession of 41,540 grams of cannabis weed. This following another successful operation by the drug squad in the heights of Bellevue-Chopin on Friday.
Adult male of that community was arrested on suspicion for cultivation of 1,902 cannabis plants and possession of 41,540 grams of cannabis weed. Additionally, 565 alleged cannabis plants and 247 grams of alleged cannabis weed were destroyed.
In other police stories, Elvis Francois of Benz and Ronan Joseph of Woodford Hill have been sentenced to 2 years in prison. The pair was found guilty of entering the home of a foreign national at Calibishi
and stole a quantity of tools value 4,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars. The stolen items were all recovered due to the joint efforts of the police officers serving at the Portsmouth and Calabishi police stations.
In other news, a former student of the Roseau Primary School has received a full scholarship from the Lions Club of Dominica. The Lion Joseph Liebert Memorial Scholarship was presented to Danielia Carrier of Mornbruce, who will attend the Goodwill Secondary School in September. The student was presented with text and exercise books, stationery, uniform, school shoes, and bags. The scholarship is a way of honoring the memory of Joseph Liebert, a charter member of the club from its inception in 1968. He passed away in June this year. And following a 94% pass in the CSEC results, Principal of SMA Thomas Holmes is calling for continued commitment and dedication from his staff. The call was made during a Whitco Scholarship ceremony where former student Garner Harris was awarded. Holmes, who was recently appointed as principal, expects the teachers to always stay on task and make the sacrifices where necessary. He believes that's how the boys will attain success. He believes parental support is also key.
And then the parents must be there all the way. Not just when they come in for tests and they get 90%, they said, what about the 10? You should have gotten 100. No, we have to push them as far as we can without breaking them. So parents, we have a job to do with SMA. Further, we cannot do it without the students, because we can tell them as much as we want, help them as much as we want, but they have to take the first step for the education.
Holmes reminded the young boys that during their school days, relationships with young ladies can wait.
The girls will come, but they can stay and wait. The CO will come, that can stay and wait. The relationships will come. The best one to keep is the relationship with your teachers and with your family. Take your time, work hard, and look for the 4.0.
That's news. Your sports highlights next. We kick off with football, where Sagicor, Exodus, Bathurst State and Waukee Rollers registered wins in the opening matches of the Dominica Football Association's Premier League on the weekend. Here to tell us more is Gerald George.
On Saturday, Sagicor Southeast came from being 3 goals down to defeat Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers 4-3 at the Benjamin Park. Erskine Williams, Jamie Parillo and Vincent Joseph scored 4 Bombers, giving them a 3-0 advantage at the interval. Then in the second half, Jocelyn Prince, Scotty Phillip, Sidney Lockett and Monroe Phillips scored for Southeast after they were reduced to 10 men, with Byron Jajak receiving a red card. Jocelyn Prince was named man of the match. On Sunday, Exodus Football Club defeated Middleham United 2-0 at the Benjamin Park. Delbert Daly and Lama Phillips scored for Exodus. Delbert Daly was named man of the match. In a doubleheader at the Dubla playing field, Bathurst State Football Club defeated RIC Kensborough 4-1 in the first match. Coulson Benjamin, Jeremiah Timothy, Conaldo Thomas and Hubert Prince scored for Bathurst State, with Chad Lazar scoring for Kensborough. Fitz Jolly was named man of the match. In the second match, newcomers Waukee Rollers created an upset when they defeated defending champions Dubla Football Club 2-0. Darius Felix and Janet Charles scored for Waukee Rollers. Janet Charles was named man of the match. Meanwhile, the match between Caribbean Cool Harlem United and Petro Caribe Point Michel did not take place due to waterlogged conditions at the Dubla playing field. That match is rescheduled for Tuesday at the Dubla playing field from 6 p.m.
In basketball, only one game was played this weekend in action from the 2016 Flow DABA playoffs, where Fast Cash Prowlers and Detroit Blazers went head-to-head on Saturday. However, that match was called off during the second quarter because of wet conditions at the Massac court. The scores at the time were 21-20 in favor of Blazers. The game was called off after referees deemed the slippery court unsafe, as some of the players would slide during the game. However, the Blazers team wasn't pleased with the referee's decision, since they believed the game should have been called off. Here are some reactions from the teams.
We're not supposed to start the game in the first place. You know, man. Before the game starts, we're supposed to not supposed to start the game. We're not supposed to start the game.
Channel 5 Sports spoke with the DABA, who says the game would have to be played over from start at a later date. In cricket, third-placed ICC T20 ranked West Indies defeated India in their T20 series on the weekend to move from 122 to 125 points. India lost 2 points coming out of the two-match series, moving from 128 to 126. In the first match, the Windies had a nail-biting win when they defeated India by 1 run. Evan Lewis and Johnson Charles had a good day with the bat as they made 179 respectively. The Windies finishing on 245 for 6 to India's 244 for 4. In the second T20 game, West Indies were bowled out for 143, with opening batsman Johnson Charles scoring a game high of 43. India, in reply, could only reach 15 without loss when the rain came. The outfield was negatively affected by rain and caused the match to be abandoned, with West Indies grabbing the win. Next up, 30 cycling enthusiasts came out to support a cycling awareness drive on the weekend. The sport got much needed exposure during the event organized by the local governing body.
All the riders that did ensure that they had their proper gear on. And we were about 20 numbers, and we were escorted by the police, the ambulance, the fire service, government workers, and Red Cross. And it was really an important event.
Several individuals were recognized at the end of Saturday's event for their contribution to the sport.
It took the opportunity to acknowledge some of our cyclists. The persons in the news was recognized for long-outstanding dedication to cycling, as the voice has represented Dominica in different ways or regionally. We also took the opportunity to recognize the African father. African father, as was known, is really into the sport. He had a bicycle shop and he had all the necessary skills and so forth. And he too brought us an award for a similar achievement. And we also took the opportunity to recognize a 9-year-old boy, young fella, who was the youngest rider.
That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Be sure to join us tomorrow. Your weather forecast is next.
Good evening, Dominica, and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I'm your presenter, Marsha Alexander. We begin by taking a look at earlier infrared satellite imagery, what it showed. This area of convection associated with a weak trough just south of the islands. Now taking a look at earlier visible satellite imagery, what it showed. Multi-layered clouds across the area with some high-level clouds streaming across Dominica today, and this resulted in partly cloudy skies. Now taking a look at earlier radar imagery and what it indicated, a few scattered showers mainly across the extreme southern portion of the region. Now tonight's weather is expected to be partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy and hazy with a few brief scattered showers, and these conditions are expected to continue into tomorrow. Sea conditions are expected to be slight to moderate in open water with waves peaking near 5 feet. For the next 3 days, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a few brief scattered showers can be expected throughout the next 3 days due to the presence of a weak trough. For the rest of the Caribbean, fair to partly cloudy skies can be expected across the extreme northern portion of the region with an increasing cloudiness and scattered showers as we move towards the south. Our international cities forecast: clear skies expected in New York and London, showers and thunderstorms expected in Miami and Caracas, with partly cloudy skies expected in Beijing. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:52 a.m. and sunset will be at 6:19 p.m. Please remember that we are in the hurricane season. For more information, you can call the weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit our website at weather.gov.dm. Thanks for viewing. Have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. Dominica's most at-risk groups challenged to play their part in eliminating HIV and AIDS. A management reshuffle as the State College welcomes over 600 new students, and the body of an elderly pitted Soufriere man fished out of the Casablanca coast Monday afternoon. Feel free to contact us at news@mon29thAug2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams. To our viewers around the world, we thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.